In lesson F3, solving multi-step equations, lesson 3 in your notes, your I can statement is I can solve linear equations involves rational numbers and justify my solution. So today we're going to go back to what are our steps when we go to solve. As you look at these, the first thing we should keep down is that we are always, if we have like terms, want to add our like terms together. We want to combine like terms and like constants, so both our variables and our constant terms that might look alike. The second thing we want to be thinking about is our next goal is to get the variable by itself. How do we get our variable by itself? Well, when we are getting our variable by itself, what that really means is our first goal, as we've been solving since the beginning of this unit, is A. First, we're going to add or subtract the constant. So get that number away from the variable. Then the second step to finish solving is always to multiply or divide by the coefficient of our variable. So the coefficient of our variable, if you can't read my writing, at least you can hear it. So one of the first things I'm going to take a look at is in this first equation. I want to look at my like terms, and I underline them. These two look alike, so I have 2x minus 1x. Some of you might not see the minus 1, so if you want to write it as plus a negative 1. That gives us 1x minus 13 equals 21 as you are filling in your notes. I'm now to the part where I add my constant. So you guys have been doing this for a while. We add 13. Oh, I like this, right? This is making sense to us. X is equal to 34. What's the next thing I say we always have to do when we are looking at our equations? We need to do a check. So as you do your check, you got to plug it into the original equation. Remember, you're substituting 2 times. Plug it in your calculator, 34 minus 13 minus another 34. And the question is, as you put it in your calculator, does it equal 21? So please plug this in your calculator right now, and you should get that yes, 21 is equal to 21. If you're not doing the check, you need to make sure you start doing that. Here's our next one that we're going to practice. This time, again, we want to add our like terms. Negative 5y minus 2y. And again, for some of you that struggle with integers, rewrite it. Negative 7y plus 12 equals 16, and it's negative 16. Don't drop those signs. We are now going to get rid of our constant 12, minus 12 from both sides, the inverse operation. Next we look and we have negative 7y is equal to a negative 28. If I have negative 7y, I need to divide by my coefficient, which is just the negative 7. And y in this case equals 4. Again, do your check. How do you check? Go back to the original. Plug it in your calculator. Negative 5 times 4 plus 12 minus 2 times 4. And the question is, does it equal negative 16? So please plug that in and check it. If you need to pause the video or go back, please make sure you do so. As we solve equations that have distributive property, you got to be careful. We kind of talked about this yesterday's lesson. Sometimes you can divide right away, but because of this added coefficient, we have to distribute first. Some of you still need to write down the 2 times 3r. Others of you are ready to progress to 6r plus, if I have 2 groups of 5, 10, plus 8 equals 12. Now this time when I add my like terms, they're my constants. So I'm going to add 6r plus 18 equals 12. If I'm adding those together, I am now going to subtract 18 from both sides. So that I now have 6r is equal to a negative 6. Those of you that struggle, if you want to change it to plus a negative 18. Dividing by our coefficient, r equals negative 1. If you're not sure you did that right, again, do the check. So there should be enough room in your notes. This is where I did my check on my notes. I did it down below the problem, so please check as you look at this. So if we are checking this, I should have 2 times parenthesis, 3 times a negative 1, plus 5. If I put it in my calculator, I'm putting that parenthesis in, plus 8, question mark. If you didn't want to put it in your calculator, you still could do that. 2 times negative 3 plus 5 plus 8. You get 2 times 2 plus 8, and 4 plus 8, yes, it does check, it's 12. So again, we might rewrite this as 1j plus, now we are distributing. I would hint to write down those arrows on your homework sheet so that we put this first one, you're thinking, oh, 3 times 5 is 15. Minus, you do not want to put 2j. It is 3 groups of 2j's, which makes it 6j equals 25. You are now combining your like terms. This time our like terms are not our constants, they are our variable terms. Negative 5j plus 15 equals 25. We are subtracting the constant. So now we go back to what we did from the beginning. Negative 5j equals 10. Divide by the coefficient, which is negative 5. Watch those positive and negatives. Negative 2. Again, for your check, make sure you plug it into the original equation. Negative 2 plus 3 times the parenthesis. 5 minus 2 times negative 2 equals 25. Pause it if you need to make sure you have everything written down before you go on to your next page of notes. Now this next part, the really key thing is that we are trying to eliminate fractions or clear the fractions. So in an equation involving fractions, we want to multiply the sides by a number so that the equation is not a fraction anymore. So you always want to look for the denominator. Whatever's in your denominator is what you're going to multiply on both sides by. So since 9 is in my denominator, I'm going to multiply by 9 over 1 or simply times 9. The beauty of this is that 9 over 9 is the same as 1, and I'm left with g minus 5 equals, we're now going to multiply, negative 4 times 9 gives us negative 36. This is nice and easy to solve now. So those fractions sometimes throw people, but they're not bad. G is equal to a negative, in this case, 31. Does it check? You should have plenty of room here to do the check before you fill in your answer. How do you check it? Again, you are plugging into G in this original equation, negative 31 minus 5. All divided by 9, and the question is it 4? Well, 31 minus 5 is a negative 36 over 9. Yes, it checks. As we look at the second problem, again, what's in my denominator is a 4. I want to multiply on both sides of the equation by that denominator, 4. Here it's 4 over 1, so 4 over 4 simplifies to 1. On this side, we're just going to multiply. So we are left with 1 times this 6 minus 2t. So since it's 1 times that, I can just write it without a parenthesis. Equals 20. How do I get the negative 2t by itself? This is where some of you are making some mistakes, right? You're getting a little mixed up on stuff. You are subtracting 6, but now it is not 2t, it's still negative 2t equals 14. We divide by our coefficient negative 2, and t is equal to negative 7. And again, you should please make sure, if you haven't done so, that you do the check. Okay, so please make sure you show your check. Again, pause it if you need to make sure you have everything written down before going to the next page. On this page, what you are asked to do is to show the reasons. So you will be asked in your homework to justify. On our Common Core assessments, you're asked to justify your solution. The first one is our original equation. What is the next one? Well, what did we do? We got rid of, from first step to the second step, what changed is there's no parenthesis. What property lets us get rid of parentheses? The distributive property. So we're going to put down distributive property as our reason from line 1 to line 2. What did we do from line 2 to line 3 that's different? Well, here we had 6x, we had all these x's and numbers, we combined them. So we're going to write this as combining like terms. Someone said, can we put add like terms? Same thing. Combine like or add like terms. Not only did we add the like constants, we add the like variables. Next thing, what happened from line 3 to line 4 if we are looking at this one? Oh, we don't have a 9 anymore, but we don't have 18 either. What actually happened was a subtraction property, or in this, we subtracted 9 from both sides. This is called the subtraction property of equality. We're just going to put subtract 9 both sides of the equal signs. When you get into algebra, you're asked to justify, and in geometry, it would be the subtraction property of equality. Next, we went from negative 2x to just an x. Both sides got divided by negative 2. So we're going to put divide by negative 2, both sides of the equal. So as you're finishing this up, as you do your worksheet, you're going to be taking a look at these first few questions. You got to distribute, and the first ones just say, is this a solution? They just want you to check. Plug this in and check it in questions 1 to 4. In questions 5 to 6, 5 through 7, you're solving those. Look at your notes if you need to. Here's where you're doing the multiplying, right? Look at your notes. Number 14, you're going to read that question and try and set that up to solve it. I need an equation first. As I look at number 14, I need your equation first. And number 15, again, should be writing an equation. And then 16 to 19, you're going to solve these. Add your like terms, come up with your solutions. 20 and 21, I know you haven't done a lot like this if we are looking at these, but what they are asking you to do is, as you look at the problems, you are asked to write an equation for the area. Key thing I want you to remember, area is equal to 1/2 base times height. Someone said, can I multiply it by a half after? You can. So here they're telling you the area. You're going to write down 348 equals 1/2. My base is x plus 15. My height is 12. Can I rearrange this side of the equation? Yes. Can I switch sides? Yes. So I might want to write it as a 1/2 times 12 times x plus 15 equals 348. This makes a lot more sense, right? 1/2 of 12 is 6. Times x plus 15 equals 348. You are now going to use your knowledge of what we've worked on the last 2 days to finish these. Question 21 is also, you need to set that one up. Do it very similar to how I did this one.